Market update here on the 17th. I'm going to go over a lot of the tech names, QQQ, SPY, and I'm probably going to start doing weekly updates instead of daily because I think they're probably going to be better quality than trying to do this every single day. So QQQ, starting off here, this I still think is in a 5-wave move here. I think that this part right here is a little bit tough to figure out exactly where the third wave ended or if we're still in the third wave. But I think that there's a very good chance the third wave ended right here, based on the fact that this was, I don't know, this right here was about a month long, and this took about a month long, and it was just straight up, and then we got this small dip. That's what I currently have as the end of the third wave. And then I have a first wave here, second wave, third wave ending right here, fourth wave right here. And I currently, while it's possible that we already topped out right here, I think that we are probably in a second wave here. So if we zoom in here a little bit farther, this goes straight up, makes a new high, and then we get basically a, whoops, we get A, B, and you can see here we have a daily demand zone between 421 and 430, and it looks like we're making a 5-wave move down. We have a gap fill at 425. So I'm expecting here over the next week or two for it to come down here into this area, and that would be a buy the dip with a stop below the low at 421, and that would be the second wave of the fifth wave. It's possible, again, that it topped out right here. But I think just based on everything else that we're going to see some more upside. And invalidation again is at 421. I think we could see 500, to be honest. Because we'll be at 421. That's only about, well, that's 20% upside. It's a pretty big upside. Maybe we'll only see 460, 470. This would only say probably somewhere around 460, 470. So we'll see. If I take this bottom wave and put it at the end of the fourth wave, it says about 450. We've already hit that though. So we'll see how it goes. I see a little bit more upside in the rest of the tech names, so I think that this is the most likely scenario. So we have 1, 2, and then you can see here third wave 1.61 fib come down here, and then this looks like a first wave start. So QQQ, look for 421 to 430, and that would be a buy the dip with a stop below the low. SPY, so let's zoom out here on SPY and just look at the overall chart. So going back to the very beginning, we have wave 1, wave 2, and I think we're currently, wave 3 ended at the end of 2021, and I think we're currently in a B wave. So I think this is just a long, drawn out, expanded flat potentially, which is not exactly what you want to hear if you're long, because I think there's a very, very good chance that we get up here to maybe 545 to 560, and then we have a huge drop. Because if you zoom out here again, this took, so the great financial, you got the bubble here, 2000, you got the great financial crisis, all of that was the second wave. Third wave hit right there, you can see. You could technically call it COVID high as the end of the third, or before COVID crashed, the end of the third wave, but I think that this was the end of the third wave right here. And I think that we are entering the end of a B wave. And I think that when that is finished, you're going to see a drop that's going to be pretty big in 2025. So I don't know what's going to cause it, but that's the structure I see. I don't see this as a 5-wave move. This 4th wave wasn't long enough time-wise. And you can see here also, if I draw let's just draw this parallel line from the wave 1. And you can see here, we didn't even make it to the midpoint. So I would want to see something here in the middle to confirm that the 4th wave is finished. This took 9 years. This 4th wave was so dinky. And then the structure of this move from the bottom is very, very corrective. It had potential to be a 5-wave move, but then we get this move right here, comes back into the 1st wave and the 1st wave of what you could consider the 3rd wave, breaks right back into them. So that doesn't make any sense for a 5-wave move. So I think that the most this can go up to is about 560. That's the 1.61 fib of the wave A. Or no, it's not. It can go all the way up here to 588. I'm sorry. And if this is a W wave, this is saying 545. So anywhere between 545 and 585 is a target. Move this back up here. Anywhere in that range. But then after that, if that's a B wave, you're expecting a huge drop after that. Probably take a year. Potentially, let's say we go to 585. We can go all the way down here to 256 on a drop. And you can see here that would cross the parallel line here in the middle. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. So 256 potentially. And the dollar would be getting a lot stronger. But then that would be by the dip. And then we would go to way new highs. We'd be going to, who knows, upper 800-900, something like that. So I don't think that this cycle is finished yet. I originally did. And if you follow people like David Hunter, they're saying we're about to get an 80% crash. So I'll keep my eye on that, but I think that we're still in a 4th wave, and I think that we're probably going to be melting up into the end of the decade. So I think we got some more time. But anyway, on the smaller time frame, I'm looking for a dip here, but let's just look at the areas I'd be looking at. I'd be looking here at 498 to 493 is probably the most likely. That's about a 2-3% dip. That sounds about right because QQQ is looking for 421 to 430. So I'm looking down here to 493 to 498. And you can see here all the moving averages are obviously still intact. You have the 50-day. That's probably what we're looking at right here at 494. So look for something around 494. And then that's a buy the dip because we're going to be going up here to probably 545. I would say 545 is more realistic. That's another 10%. So I've had this melting up into the summertime for a while now. So I think like June, July, something like that should be the top. So you can see here, this took about 9 months. This is end of October. 9 months is the end of July. So looking for end of July, 545. All right, let's go into the tech stocks. Apple. So Apple has a few different patterns that could play out. I'm still bullish on this, even though it's been dropping recently. It's at the very bottom of the daily standard deviation, so that's definitely positive. On the short-term time frame, I'm looking for a bounce out of this demand zone, back up here, fill this gap at 175, potentially come all the way up here to 176. And it's not really clear. I think that while this could be the bottom and this could be a wave 1, with the fact that QQQ is probably going to drop some more, I won't be surprised if this falls farther, except for the fact that wave 1 down here was at 157. So this falls more, it could invalidate the whole move, assuming that this is the 4th wave and this is the 5th wave. It's also possible that Apple topped out right here. I mean, Apple has no growth right now. This could have been the 5th wave. and we could be in the potential beginning of a fall. So this could end up being something like that. And if it did that, it would bounce while the market melted up more, but it never makes new highs and then it falls. You could also get something like that too. A lot of different possibilities on Apple. I'll be watching this low here at 166. I actually own this stock right now. But if this does not look, here's what I'm looking for on the small time frame. I'm looking to see if this can break this parallel line. I'd be looking for it to hit the 1.61 fib here at 178. So I want to see it break this supply zone right here. If it hits 178, I'll continue holding. If it looks like it's going to top out right around in this area, it looks very corrective, then I'll probably sell and then look for a further drop. So tough to tell, but this could be a first wave of a fifth wave. That could have been the top. A lot of different patterns here, and we hit the 1.61 fib here too, but it looks like it's probably going to end up being a corrective move here and a farther fall. So look to see what happens when it gets into the supply zone between 173 and 177. Microsoft. So Microsoft. I have this at, it can go to two different ways. Similar to Apple, this is potentially the fourth wave right here. Or this is a B wave right here, and we're going to come down here farther. Maybe like this, down here to 405. It really depends on how we open up on Monday, but I would lean towards the downside. This is an impulse move right here. So I think we're looking at it like this. Let's see. A, B, C like that. Maybe a running flat. So this is A, B, C like that. And you're looking at 5 waves. You look down here, smaller time frame. Pretty clearly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's possible it goes lower than that. It can go all the way down to 385, but I don't think it's going to. There's only one gap fill. It's at 405. So if it comes down here, this structure is bullish. You buy at 405 because then we're going to melt up after that. So Microsoft looks good to me. In one of the previous videos last week, I was talking about buying in this zone. I was looking for a 5-way move. I sold in 414. And it looked like it was going to end up being a 5-way move. We had 1, 2, we hit the 1.61 fib. Normally you'd be looking for something like this, but instead that ended up being ABC, and now we're making an impulse down. So this is more than likely going to be the 4th wave over here, and then we can melt up after that. Tesla. So I follow this every day, trade it most of the time. And where we're at in this move, I think we got one more move down. I think there's a very good chance we go to 148, even though that does break outside of monthly demand. So I guess I'm not like 100% on this, but it is very likely. And I'll show you why, because let's look at the 4-hour time frame. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, starting right here. And you can see here we have 1, 2, 3. We don't have that green candle yet. So I'm assuming this is going to open up green tomorrow, maybe hit 165, and then I'd be looking for something like this. Potentially fill this gap down here, but really the max we can go to is about 148. So if we zoom in here a little bit farther, you can see here we have A, B. I'm looking for something up here potentially to start the week off. We got this move right here. Let's see. Yeah. A, B, C, B. And it looks like we're making a C wave here. So A, B, C like that. And then I would be looking for that fifth wave down. But there's a chance I'm wrong on this because we're in a very big demand zone here, and we barely bounced out of it. But it's possible also that we just bounce out of it and go right through it. We could slice right through it. So it looks like the structure is setting up for a move down. And again, the market's probably going to fall. So it makes a lot of sense for this to go down to 148. Maybe it only goes down here to 155. It didn't have to fill the gap. 148 is the max though. So zooming out here, we're basically oversold on the daily RSI. Weekly is getting down there as well. We're down here at 35. So I still think that Tesla has a very good shot of going up here to 300. So that's going to mean it's going to have to really, really go though. There's going to have to be some kind of news because it doesn't have that much time, I don't think. I don't think we have time. I think we have like 4 months, 3 or 4 months to get up there. But let's say it goes to 148 by the end of March, and then it runs into earnings. That's good enough. Then you're looking at potentially I mean 432 is pretty good, but I don't know if it'll get there. That's a pretty big move. I'd be looking at this monthly supply zone. Maybe we only run up to there and it's a small C wave. That makes a little bit more sense. Just because if we're going to fall after that, then it's going to need, it's probably going to be shorter than the A wave. So this ended at 412. Let's say we go down to like 70 bucks. We're probably going to come up here into the supply zone. So I would look for maybe high 300 to 350, maybe something like that. Let's use the regular chart. So on a regular chart, this might be more accurate. Maybe 350, something like that. So I still am bullish on Tesla from here, but we need to see a turnaround here in the next couple of weeks. And obviously, earnings are going to be so pivotal to this stock moving higher in the coming days. This is definitely not an impulse move, though. You can see here we have A, B, C. We bounce back up. And then if this was going to be like a third wave, it would have gone farther before bouncing back up here into this move right here. So I don't think it's an impulse move. That's a good news. That makes it as A, B, and C. It's possible it's a diagonal, but again, I think the market doesn't have enough time for that to finish. Diagonal would be, something like that. So I'm looking for a C wave up going into the summer. We'll see what happens. All right, Amazon. Amazon, I think, is in a fourth wave. I'm going to go a little bit faster here. I'm looking for down here to 167 to 170, and then I'd be looking for a melt up after that. So that's really all I got to say here because it's the same thing as all the rest of the charts. About 2 or 3% dip and then move higher. Meta, same thing. I think it's in a fourth wave. I'd be looking down here into this gap fill at 469, potentially 461 to 472. I wouldn't want to see it going lower than that. Although the 50 DMA is at 440, I think that that would be kind of hard to hit. If it hits 440, then there's a possibility you could fill this gap here at 405, but then that would be a pretty big drop. So we'll see how it goes. I I think that this is probably going to end here at 463 to 470. Nividia, also, I think it's probably in a fourth wave. And I think there's a chance, just like Apple, there's a chance it bounces. I think there's a good chance that Nividia does this. Potentially. It's a pretty big move, though. It's a 5% move. If it doesn't do that, then we're just looking for the C wave to go ahead and come down here. The length of this took about 3 days. Yeah, I think we're probably looking at that, actually. We're probably looking at something like this. And then end of March is when it bottoms, something like that. So a C wave potentially coming on Nividia. This was a 5-wave move. Then we get a corrective move down. Potentially, we get this. And then after that, sell off. So that's probably, I think that all the tech stocks are a little bit different right now. Microsoft looks like it's probably going to start going down right away. But Nvidia looks like it's going to go up. Apple looks like it's going to go up. Amazon looks like it's going to go down. So we'll see how it goes. But Nvidia looks like it's going to go higher. You have demand zones between 786 and 860. After that, you're looking at another move higher. Invalidation on this, though, I don't want to see it cross into 823. So this demand zone right here is pivotal, 824 to 860. That'd be a buy the dip. Okay, let's go over BA. So BA does not look good at all. I have this weekly demand zone between 185 and 197, sliced right through it. That is not a good sign. They keep on coming out with bad news. Let's zoom out here and look at the chart. Let's look at where the next area, because it's past all of the moving averages. They're still above the 200 though. That's a good thing. But it looks to me like this 5-wave move ended. So this was 5 waves. I was looking at potentially this being a extension, but no. We get this move down, and within this move, I think 3rd wave is right here, 4th wave right here. 1, 2. This might be going to, let's look for some gaps. I don't see any gaps down here. Okay, let's look at demand zones now. And it already passed that demand zone. I don't see any daily ones. Weekly ones. Crazy sell-off. And there isn't really any good demand zones on here. Go down to the 4-hour time frame and see. I see one at 169. That could potentially be a good spot. We're at 180. There's also one right here at it's got to be below 176 though. So 176. This is the next zone I see right here. That might be a place, but again, it's a 4-hour one, so it's not as significant as a daily or a weekly. I'll bring it all the way over here. You can see it's lower than, this is lower than this area right here. I didn't see any right here, except for that right there, but that's higher than where we're at. Actually, there's one right here too. So And that's actually where we're at. So that's a good 4-hour demand zone, and then below that you have one at 168. So then let's look at the waves here and just see where we're at. So it's pretty clear that the third wave ended right here. So yeah, this is probably in a third wave. Because you can see here, so again, it's basically just a no touch right now. On this one, who knows where it's going to end? How long is it going to take them to stop putting out bad news? Every day, it's about a plane failing. Every single day, there's some bad news with Boeing. Same with Tesla. It's the exact same thing. Both stocks are just absolutely horrible right now. So I wouldn't be touching this until we get a bounce. Figure out where it's going to bottom at. Again, the only good zones I see are those on the 4-hour. We can look at the monthly and just see if there's a good monthly demand zone. Okay, there is. So a good monthly demand zone is at 150. That's another interest area you'd be looking at. So that's another spot you want to be looking at right there, 150 to 120. And honestly, the way it's going, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes there. So keep your eye on these 4-hour demand zones. And then below that, you're probably going down here to 150. Where is the 200-day moving average at? It's way up here. We're below that now. And on the daily, same thing. So 150, 168, and 180 is where we're at basically right now. If it breaks this right here at 176, you're looking down here at 169. Breaks this demand zone, you're looking down here at the monthly demand at 150. And that's usually where you'll see accumulation at on monthly demand. So that's it for Boeing. Not looking good. As far as the overall structure, though, I thought it would go higher than this. So it's still possible that this is an A wave, we get a B wave, and we come down here. But this is impulsive, so this might be finished already. We might be starting our heading down here soon. This could be a first wave down. We bounce and do something like that. It depends on the overall market, I guess. So that's pretty much all I gotta say on that. I think that's it for right now. I'll go over Google and then that'll be it. I didn't do this one beforehand. So give me a second. All right, so third wave ended right here, fourth wave right here. And Google, I think, is probably in a diagonal. That's the only thing that makes sense. Because again, we hit the third wave right here, and then it came back down here into the first wave. So I think this is a diagonal. And I think that maybe Google cools off a little bit at the start of the day. Maybe it comes down here a little bit, and you're looking at something like this. Because again, look at that. Hit the weekly demand, bounced right out of it. So if you're buying in weekly demand, you could have made a bunch of money. So that's pretty much what I see on Google. All these tech stocks are finishing cycles. So when the market pulls back, if we do get that move down at the end of this move right here, which I consider a B wave, or no, a 5-wave move on QQQ. I think it's a 5-wave. It's going to be a big correction. So you can see the difference between QQQ and SPY. this was only about a year. So this is probably the end of the fourth wave, so that means we're in a fifth wave. So after that, we could see a pretty big correction in tech. So that's pretty much it. I'll go over the dollar. Keep on thinking of new ones to go over. The dollar. And really, the dollar is still on track for what I've been talking about. So we have A, B, and then we have one down, and we're currently in a second wave. It looks to me like honestly, it looks to me like this might have been the end of the second wave. Could be wrong, but I think this might be the first wave down. So we might see something like this. And then that would be the third wave. And then we're looking for, of course, a bounce. And then more downside after that. Potentially all the way down here to 92. So that's why this fifth wave on all these stocks, this might be the biggest wave yet. It's going to be the final blow off top on everything. And it's probably going to begin in the next month or so. So, again, zooming out here, we have W, X, and then we have A, B, and then again, I think we can come all the way up here to like 130 on the dollar. Don't ask me what's going to cause that to happen. I have no idea. But something is going to cause people to rush into the dollar, and it's going to get a lot stronger. So, again, this is what I'm looking at. About 130. So 92 to 130. We'll see if that ends up being right. It is a corrective move, so we'll find out. Invalidation on this move again is 107.39. Looking for 92 on the downside. So that's pretty much it for this video. Went over all the tech, QQQ, SPY, BA. Let me know in the comments if you have any other ones you want me to look at. And I'm going to put out a video for the miners and Bitcoin here in a second. So that's it. Like, subscribe for more updates, and I'll catch you in the next video.